gets married to a woman, he has children, the wife dies, okay? Now he marries another woman, he dies. So if he dies, so to the first wife, there was no chiyuv ksuba because she predeceased him, right? Now, she brought assets into the marriage, which are called ksubas bin dichrin. Ksubas bin dichrin, when did the kids get it? That when he dies, the children get the assets that the mother brought into the marriage. And whatever's left, the kids, let's say the kids from another marriage, they divide everything equally. So the ksubas bin dichrin goes to the children, the original mother, the children from that woman. And let's say there's a second children, they get the ksub of their mother, ksubas bin dichrin, and with the balance, they divide equally. Let's say you have, let's say the estate that's left, the only thing that's left is only enough to cover the ksubas bin dichrin. Ruvain's, Rachel's children, Leah's children. And there's nothing left for Yerusha. No, there's enough. There's enough. Let's say ksubas bin dichrin, Rachel brings in $10,000, Leah brings in $1,000. And and they're only $11,000 worth of assets. Then you don't pay any ksubas bin dichrin. Why? Because you have to have Yerusha. The only time Chazal were masakim ksubas bin dichrin, that's only if the halach of Yerusha, there's assets to cover the hilchas Yerusha, even if it's a dinar. Let's say you have $11,000, one dinar. One dinar. So that, since that dinar could be divided, that's the Yerusha. But let's say there's nothing left, there's not even a dinar left, then there's no Yerushas. They said no, so regardless of what each one brought in, they divide equally. The B'nai Rishon, the B'nai Rishona, B'nai Shnira, they divide equally. Everything's Yerusha. Okay? That's the way it is. So the Mishnah speaks about a case like this. Reuven's the person's married to Rachel. Rachel dies, and he had children from her. So the kids get nothing. There's nothing to Yarshin. He marries Leah. He has children. He dies. So when he dies, there's a chiyuv ksuba. Everything. She should get everything back. Leah dies before she collects. She didn't collect from the estate. So now, you have B'nai Shniya, and you have B'nai Rishona. So now, B'nai Shniya is what? That's a chov. The Bali chov? From the mother, because they inherited the mother. No, it's better than B'nai Dichrin. They inherited the mother. They were the Bali chov. The mother, when she was alive, her husband died. She was an almona. She had a right to get back everything. It had nothing to do with ksubas bin dichrin. She has a right to be paid out the ksub. Ksuba means the Mosayim, Tosebes, and whatever I brought into the marriage. Yeah, because her husband right? So her children are inheriting the chov of the mother. The mother had a right to collect from the estate. Okay? Now we talk about what's left. We'll talk about what's left. Okay? You're going to give Benin Dichrin to the first one. We'll see. That's what we're going to discuss. It says, so the Mishnah says, the second one's collect the ksuba of the mother. That's a chov. And then afterwards, and let's say there's nothing left. It's too bad. It's then no different than a bal chov coming to collect. Right? And then afterwards, they get the ksubas Benin Dichrin. The first one gets ksuba. Second one are not getting ksubas Benin Dichrin. So you'd say, but that's what the Mishnah says. So you'd say, the Gemara says, so you see from here, even though there could be a little bit of Evo, there could be in Tsuyat, he said, it's not fair. We're getting from the estate, we're getting as Balichov. You're getting Benin Dichrin. It's not fair. If we all get Benin Dichrin, it's one thing. We're not getting Benin Dichrin. Because now, even though we're getting the assets, but we're not getting it as Benin Dichrin, we're as Balichov. Nevertheless, the Mishnah says, that's one of the Shema Minah, that even though one is Benin Dichrin, the other was not Benin Dichrin, nevertheless, we're not concerned about Lintsuye. They come to quarrel. You still give the first ones, you give them Benin Dichrin. Okay? So that's what the Mishnah says. Nosir Rishon, Shema Minah Tlas. We're able to derive from the Mishnah 3 halachas. Shema Minah Achas B'chai V'achas B'moso. Right? One wife was alive when he was alive, and then one was B'moso. He died. Yeshlom Ksubas Benin Dichrin. V'lo Chashin Lintsuye. We're not concerned that the second one's in quantity. It's not fair. You're getting Benin Dichrin. We're not getting anything. You're taking your Benin Dichrin out of the estate. If you say Shava B'Shava, we get Benin. Okay. Mimai. Why? Because it says Midiktari Shni of Yorsha Kod Miliyoshi Rishona. Migdem Hu Dekadmi. They get first, meaning if there's only enough to cover the second, the first get nothing. Ha'ika, but if they're assets, There's sufficient assets. Shakli, the first ones get Ksubas bin Dichrin. Even though there's not going to be anything left. For what? For the second ones, even let's say it'll be a dinar left. Let's say there's a dinar left for the second ones. You get they'll divide the dinar and the first one. Shmamino Ksuba Nasis Mosed L'Chaverto. Yeah, interesting. When you collect, when the second one's collected, right, the Ksuba, the Chov, who are they collecting the Chov from? They were really collecting the Chov from wait. So it's from the estate of the Yisomim of the first and second. So even though the Yisomim of the second wife are collecting, but where's it coming out of? It's coming out of the estate, which they would have yarshined otherwise. Even if they wouldn't have been Bali Chov. They were the Yorshim. Whatever, but it's coming out of their pocket. So you see, because the halacha, as I mentioned before, so we're talking like this, so it comes out, this Yerusha. We say, if there's only enough to cover B'din, if there's only enough to what's the name, to cover B'din Dichrin, then there's no B'din Dichrin. You have to have Yerusha. But over here, the reason why we're going to say B'din Dichrin to the first, because actually, when they paid off the second, that's Yerusha. That is Yerusha. Each of them paid 50% of the Chov. Even though they got the whole thing, but they didn't get it as Yorshim. They got it at the Yorshim of the mother, not Yorshiav. Right? As Balichov. So we see from the Yershimam, the Ksuba Nasis Mosel Chaverto. That the Ksuba is considered the Mosed. That's the Mosed on top of the B'nin Dichrin. Shmami no. Ksubas B'nin Dichrin lo tarfim mishabdi. Yeah? Because it seems to be, we're speaking about, the Mishnah says, we're talking about B'nin Dichrin doesn't get from Mishubodim. We're saying that it has to be in the estate. Bin Dichra only gets if it's in the estate. B'nei Chorin. But if the Mishabdi, you don't go to the Mishubodim. The Yisol Gadach Tav Mishabdi, less of B'nei Rishona, Litrafinu, B'nei Shniya. Right? We say, if there's leftover, you give to the B'nei Rishon. Why? Go to the Mishubodim. It says you first give to the second one. If there's left, then you give to the B'nei Rishona. What if it says left? Let it go Mishubodim. If the father is the B'nin Dichrin on Meshabed any assets he sold off, the first one let it go after those assets. But what do we say? If there's left, then they'll get the B'nin Dichrin. It has to be left in the estate. So third thing we learn from here, that what? That low tarfi. That B'nin Dichrin, Ksubas Dichrin, low tarfi, min Meshabdi. Right? That the Ksuba of the first one, the B'nin Dichrin doesn't go to Mishubodim. Why? Di Tzolka Daitun Torfa, Meshabdi, less of B'nei Rishon, Litruvin Meishniya. So what do we have to say? Only if there's left they collect. They go after regardless. Maskul or Ravashi. So Rav says, no, it's not so posh. The three Shmami knows. Mimai, Dilmo, Lo'olam Eimeloch, Achs B'chai V'achs B'moso, Eilem B'nin Dichrin. Here? The first ones will not get B'nin Dichrin. Right? They won't. Umay Kodmin, Linachlo. The Kodmin Linachlo, Tony. Wait a second. The Kodmin Lenachla, so Rashi says, what's that Kodmin? The Mashba Ho'ika, Loshi Shon Achreim Ksubas Miyimam. Doesn't mean saying the Kodmin to collect B'nin Dichrin. Eli Lachreim Chelkom B'moise Knan Choke Rusha. Meaning they have a right. They have a right to take the Rusha. Not the Kodmin we understood meant, they Kodmin to take out of the estate the Rusha. Kodman means what's left to take as Yorshim, as Yorshim. V'chitem Yorshon Lomali. So what do we have to speak about? Yorshim Rishono. I did tona shni of Yorsheo tonanami liyorshi Rishono. U'tekamri Ksuba Nasas Mosel Chaverto. We want to bring a raya that Ksuba is Nasas Mosel Chaverto, because we say that if there's the Moser, then they could get Ksubs. Dilma Lolama Imeloch and Ksub Nasis Mosel Chaverto. Vachu the Ika Moser Dinar. We're speaking about there's a Moser Dinar besides the Bin Dichrin. I mean, besides the amount that the second ones are collecting as the Chov of their mother's Ksuba, there's a Rusha. That's the reason. Vachas B'chayov, Vachas B'Moser Tanoi. He says this discussion of the two wives, whether the first group gets B'nin Dichrin, it's Machlokes Tanoim. What you wanted to bring a raya from the Mishnah is not a raya. But factually, it is a Machlokes Tanoim. Remember we discussed yesterday. A man marries a woman, the woman dies, predeceases the husband. He marries another woman, he predeceases his wife. So we said that the children of the second wife, they collect the ksuba from the estate, and what's left, the children of the first one, they get the ksuba of their mother. Right? They get the ksuba of the mother. And we wanted to say, and the ksuba that was paid out to the second one is the Yerusha. Right? That's what we said. So we're saying this discussion, whether they collect bin dichrin, where even though, because we said there was no question before, if everything's not equal, they'll say, it's not fair. The second group could say to the first group, it's not fair. When we're collecting our mother's ksuba, we're not collecting it as bin dichrin. We're collecting the ksuba because you owe the money to our mother. Because the husband predeceased his wife, right? So that's the discussion. Mesu, they both died. They both died. Achs b'chayev, achs b'moso. Benana somer yichon b'nei rishon alom b'nei shniyo. Aleph, what's Aleph? Was the Bach? B'nei shniyo. Atem b'nei balaschov. Atem tlu ksubas imchem. Yeah? Yichon b'nei shniyo, or rishon alom b'nei shniyo. They could say to b'nei shniyo, Atem b'nei balaschov. Atem tlu ksubas imchem. Utzu. Meaning what they could say, you already took the ksuba of your mother, therefore we have a right to take. Now we'll take the bnei dichrin. Reb Kiva omer kvar koptze nachlo, lefnei rishona, no, they can't tell him that. The moment the father dies, right, everything's Yerusha. Everything's Yerusha. So if everything's Yerusha, so if that's the case, the second one have the same right as the first ones. So that they'll collect the chov of their mother, and what's left they'll divide equally. You have no right to take b'nei dichrin. That's what Reb Kiva is saying. Farkovtze nach lefnei b'nei harishayno, lefnei v'nofel lefnei b'nei hashniyo. My labokamil demarso va'achas b'chay v'achas b'chay v'yeshlom ksubas dichrin. Benana says, because they say, look, you took yours, now we'll take ours, even though they took it as balichov. Umarsov no achas b'chay v'achas b'mosa ein lem ksubas dichrin. Right, and therefore they said, look, kvarkovtze, it already fell into the estate. So because it fell into the state when the father died, so therefore they have a right to take 50%. Omer Rabash Gechinul Rabbonon Dvei Rab, the Yashkami, the Kuli Almo. They found, Rabbah says, he came before the Rabbonon Dvei Rab, and they were saying, Kuli Almo Achs Chayvachs Mosa Yeshlom Ksubas Nichrin. So what's the machlokes to Rebbe Kiva and Ben Anis? V'ocha b'ksuba nasis mosel chaverta. Here, that's the discussion. What they paid out, do you see that as Moser or not? That's the machlokes here. We said the only time you pay a ksubas b'din dichrin is only if there has to be at least a dinar left. If there's no dinar left, then we say everything goes into Yerusha and they divide equally. Norman, let me remind you, we discussed this yesterday. The Torah says children inherit a father. If, let's say, after they take the ksuba of the mother, there's nothing left to divide, that means the law of Yerusha is not applied. So, we cancel this b'nei dichrin. Regardless of how much each wife brought into the marriage, the estate is divided equally. Right? Now the question, we spoke about a case. The children of the second one, they collected the ksuba of their mother because their mother, the father predeceased their mother. When they get their piece, what are they getting it as? No. Not Yerusha of the father, they're getting it as Yerusha of the mother. They're inheriting their mother. Their father predeceased their mother. The father owed a ksuba to their mother. Yeah, but they're not getting it as the heirs of the father. They're getting it as the heirs of the mother, right? So now the question is, what's left? Do we see that ksuba that's paid out, since factually there was nothing in addition, in reality, to be paid out, to go into their pockets, to divide, do we see that as additional to the b'nei dichrin? Or do we see that not as additional to the b'nei dichrin? Right, we said, if they have, let's say, the state is worth $10,000, $10,001. Between both ksubas b'nei dichrin, it's $10,000. So each one takes his rightful piece, and they divide the dollar. Everybody agrees to that, right? You always have to have something which is classified as inheritance. But let's say after you divide the assets that the mothers brought in, there's nothing left for inheritance, right? We don't say that they divide the ksubas of the mothers. Of course, there has to be inheritance in place, right? So now the question is, in the case where the father predeceased the second wife, and the children take their mother's debt, is that considered moser ksuba? Is that called excess to the b'nei dichrin or not? That's the argument. V'adil lebalichov. V'ad ksubas b'nich moisel chaver to v'adil lebal. It'll be the same thing. Kamiflagi. Marsov ksubas nasis moisel chaver to v'adil lebalchov. Therefore, what? They'll get ksubas b'nichrin. Or marsova in ksubas nasis moisel chaver to v'adil lebalchov. Yeah. Ba'amina lu ano. So that's what they wanted to say. That's the Amina, no, Balchov Kulayam Lo Pligi. Navi Moser. He says, I disagree. Rabbi says, I disagreed with them. They wanted to equate paying out the ksuba of the mother to the children to a regular debtor who comes to collect from the estate a loan that he lent the father. You hear this? Seemingly they're the same thing. Ki Pligi Biksuba. I said to them, no. Balchov, everybody agrees that's Moser. That's considered, they paid out. They argue ksuba. Why? Because factually the ksuba goes into their pocket. The ksuba goes into, it's not so simple. You hear the difference. Let's say the estate is worth $11,000. Between the two ksubas b'nichrin, it was worth $10,000. So you have an additional $11,000. But that additional $1,000 is going to a debtor, to a creditor, right? That creditor has nothing to do with the heirs, right? They're both paying from the estate, and they're paying that creditor. Everybody agrees there that each one will get the full value of each of the mother's assets they brought into the marriage. Because that's clear. It's not going to either their pockets. That's going out of the estate. Right? It's going to someone else. They're arguing where it's being collected as the ksuba. Because here it's going into the pockets of some of the heirs. Right? So therefore, maybe that's not Moser. You don't see that as what? That's not blatantly clear that that's Yerusha. They're not herring anything. Because you'd say, you know, so factually, the amount of money you put in your pocket's really ksubas b'nedichrin. Right? That's what it is. Even though you're getting it as inheritance of your mother, but factually, what are you getting from your mother? What your father owed your mother, but it's basically ksubas b'nedichrin. Therefore, unless it seemed clearly, blatantly, that it's being paid out as Yerusha, then it seems to be the law of Yerusha is not being applied. That's why they're arguing. See, they wanted to say that Balchov and Ksuba is the same thing. It's not the same thing. Balchov, everybody will agree that's Moser. Okay? Maskula Rav Yochi Reb Kiva Omekva Kovtza Nachlo. Reb Kiva says, factually, Reb Kiva says that once the man dies, they divide. Kovtza Nach means the second group has the same right as the first group. You can't push him and say, you took your piece already. Im yesh Moser Dino mi boilei. Right? We should say, what do you mean you took it? We should say, if there's an additional dinar, then they can't say it. If there isn't, then they could say it. What are they arguing? They're arguing this discussion over here. Okay, that's that. So clearly, that's what they take the ksuba. Reb Shimon Omer im yesh mosa dino elu not l'ksuba simon. If there's an additional dinar, that's when they take it. So what he says clearly, what is he saying? That we don't look as the ksuba as moser, even though they're taking it as an inheritance of their mother, right? The excess. If there's an excess of a dinar, he says then they could take. Then they could take and they could take. Even though the second children, what are they taking? Are they taking the indichrin? They're taking the inheritance that their mother, the debt that was owed to their mother. Right? They take, right? Veil no l'ksubasiman. V'imlav cholkim b'shoveh. So what's clearly, so what do you say? Even though the father predeceased the second wife, and the kids of the second one are not taking as the heirs of the father, they're taking as balchov. Nevertheless, Reb Shimon says, unless there's a mosa dinar, they cholkim b'shoveh. They divide equally. So my welcome ifli. Right, that's the Tanakama. Rav Sova, no. Lo. So how do we understand Reb Shimon? So he says, they're arguing new machlokas, that the dinar has to be in addition, it has to be fixed property. It has to be, if it's metaltlin, not. Marsov and mikarkoyin metaltli lo. Marsov feel metaltli. Stop. What's the difference? Chazal don't want, like, give you an example. The Gemara says in Gittin, Hillel was taking Prusmal. Right? At the end of the Shmita, if you have any outstanding debt, it's canceled. So he enacted an instrument which protects the creditor, that the creditor's debt is not canceled. So there's the question: how is he Misak Prusbul? He's Okadov Min Torah. He's actually, Torah says it's canceled. He says it's not canceled. So how do you circumvent it? Smar says no, it's not. That's not because over here Shlotin Lovin, and because other people are going to be discouraged from lending. If people realize, so unless we have this mechanism, nobody's lending money. But factually, it's not really Okadov Min Torah. Why? Because it's Hefker Bez and Hefker, right? Because they're not doing something contrary to the Torah, right? But what was the question? It's Okadov Min, because the way it appears to be. The laws is not being. It's here also. If it's karka is public knowledge that there's a Yerusha. That was left over. That's being divided equally. Metalta, who knows what? Doesn't even know. They say they divided his estate. This one took his mother's ksuba. He took his mother's ksuba. What's left? There's no Yerusha. That's Okadav Min Torah. There's no Yerusha. So that's only if it's metaltlim, but if it's karka, everybody knows that in addition to what each one took, there's something, a piece of property was divided equally. So that's Yerusha. That's the machlokas. To what degree does it have to be? Does that be reality, or does that be blatantly clear that there's halacha Yerusha? That's the machlokas. No one says the Yerusha has to manifest itself in fixed property and not movables. Marsova, no, I feel metaltli. Could you make that? Is that the way you're going to explain Reb Shimon? Reb Shimon, affiliation the chosim achrayis ain't no klum. Ad sheisham nechosim sheish ben achrayis. Yes, al beis ksubas dinar. Yes, you see clearly it has to be fixed property. El hocha bedina mishabdi. A new one. Hear this. What about if in the free property there's nothing left, but there's property lien to the father? You got it? Let's say the father was a creditor of another person. That's called roy. You understand? What the father had in his actual estate is there's nothing left over. But he lent somebody money, and you have a dinar's worth of property leaned somewhere else. So there's what to divide. So that's but it's not here. That's the question. Again, it's something which has to be collected. Says that's sufficient to be seen as Yerusha, even though it is Yerusha. I mean, they're going to collect it. But no. But it's not obvious. He has a lien. If the guy doesn't pay, right? Elohocha b'dina mishabdi kamifli marsav b'nei chori ain. Where does it have to be the dinar? It has to be b'nei chori. It has to be property which is available in the estate. So you have it. That's tangible. Mishabdi lo marsav no. I feel mishabdi. So the Morias ihochi Reb Shimon omi miyesham dinar came to Yeshem Moshe dinar mi boy. What does he say? If there's a dinar, you should say if there's Moshe dinar. What's the Moshe dinar? Why dinar kamar toheu sham dinar? Yes, a dinar. Tanakamas. What? Yeah. Reb Shimon says im hoya Moshe dinar. You say im hoya dinar. What's the Moshe dinar? El pochs mi dinar coming from Greek. Marsav dinar in pochs mi dinar low. The question's, I mean, even a Shavuot Pruta is called Kesef. Dinar is a lot more than a Shavuot Pruta. So what about if it's less than a dinar? Ain't post the Marsav. I feel post dinar. For Reb Shimon dinar komar. He says dinar. Chite me able tanakamad masnisen nami dinar komar. Ela kihanach trei lishnoi kamoi ve'epoch. Okay. Omer mazutro mishmei derapov hilsa. What's the halacha? Achas bechayo v'achs mosi yeshlam ksubas in dichrin. You hear this? Uksubad nasis moser, and the ksubas is considered that's the payoff. That's ksubad nasis moser lechaverta. Bishlomi amrino iashmina achs b'chay v'achs moser yeshlam ksubas in dichrin. Lo ashmi ksubas b'nim nasis moser lechaverta havamina ika moser dina ini lo lo. Yeah, what he's saying two things. The estate, listen, is worth $10,000. That's the estate. The second wife doesn't predeceases her, right? Okay. Now, what happens is the money that you're going to pay the children of the second wife, that's payout as they're coming as creditors. They have a lien on the estate. Now, that money is being paid out. Out of whose pocket is that coming? The first heirs and the second heirs. right? Even though they're collecting, but out of whose pocket is it coming? From both. So from there, it seems to, so the question is, if you say achas b'chayo v'achas b'moso, the second ones collect, and then the first ones get, isn't it obvious that the ksuba is the payout? That's the dinar? Mercer says it's not a proof. Because I could say you have to have an additional, right? Since factually they're taking it as heirs, it's not blatantly clear they're taking it as Yerusha. Right? They're not getting anything as Yerusha. Right? Because factually, even though it's coming out of their pocket, 50% of what a collective month's coming out of their pocket, but factually, in the reality, why are they taking it? They're taking because they're the children of the mother. So we don't see Yerusha. Visually, we don't see Yerusha. So I'd say, what? You need an additional dinar. That's the Mosa dinar. In addition, even though that's really, they're paying it, but you need a Mosa dinar.
It's really Yerusha, but we don't see it.
Well, we don't see it. It has to be seen. So therefore, you need, in addition to that, you need an additional dinar. Right? That's what it's saying. He says, 1 second. The first one, v'lo ashminon, ksubas nasamos, and you don't tell me the second shmamino, that the ksuba is the payout. Havamina would have said ika mosadini and ilolo, that in addition to that you need another dollar, another dinar. Elo lishmino ksubas nasas mos lechaverto. That's a good question. What do we have to make three shmaminos? Say ksuba nasas mos lechaverto. Once you say that, you're including the first statement. The Gemara said the three things we're able to derive from the Mishnah. That if you have the mother, the father predeceased the second wife, the kids take the ksuba from the estate as debtors, as creditors. And then the first group takes the ksubas and indichrin. Even if there's nothing left. But it's not so clear. Maybe something has to be left. But let's you'll say the second thing. The ksuba of the second one is what? Is the Yerusha. That's the payout. They're paying out a debt. It's like a balchov. It's like they're both paying out a creditor, right? If you're saying that automatically, you're telling me achas b'chai v'achas b'moso, they get ksubas bin dichrin. That's what you're saying. V'anu yadanu b'shem achas b'chai v'achas b'moso yesh lem ksubas bin dichrin. Right? No, because otherwise, right? She says yashmin hochi havamina gon shenosa sholosh noshim. I'd say no. There's no proof. Maybe we're speaking about the case. If I just said that, I'd say he married three women. Umeisu shtayim b'chayov v'achs b'moso. V'ach demais lachem miso, you'll let us the kevi. And the third one that he married, v'ach demais lachem moso, and the one that he predeceased, she had no sons. You hear this? She only had a daughter. So he had males from the first and second wife who both had predeceased him. He married a third wife. He predeceased her, and she gave birth to a girl. So girl in the place of of sons is not an heir. She's not a Yorish. But she'll get, right, 1 second. Wait, but no. V'ach demais lachem iso, yos t'kevi, v'lav bas Yerushi. She's not a bas Yerusha. Wait, 1 second. V'lekel mechsel tzuye do leslo b'nechosim koach el ksubas imo. Nei shtayim risham sheim schorem boim li'rash yeshlam ksubas imon gedolo. Bishel chaver v'omrim tlu ksubas imchem nindichrin v'onu nito ksubas imenu v'imishum d'lekel mosedino. No, she'll collect subas bin dichrin. So in that case, what is it? No, but that she's collecting. Yeah. A girl doesn't get subas bin dichrin. But she gets as an heir. A daughter inherits a mother. Correct? The mother was old ksuba. Whatever she brought into the state plus the 200 she gets. The mother, before she had a chance to collect from the estate, she died. She had a daughter. Everybody, so that's a regular. That's like a balchov.
And we cannot count
a regular creditor. Whatever the mother brought, but no, because the mother had that. Because the mother had the right to take that.
But we cannot count 50% of hers.
No, but that's Yerusha. There's no question that's Yerusha.
Yeah, but we cannot count 50% of hers.
No, of course not. I understand, but her payout, you can't say the other shouldn't get ksubas b'dichrin. They could get ksubas b'dichrin. No. We do have ksubas. We're saying the payout of the ksuba. That's the payout.
It's a boy, you can say, but a girl, you can't. It's a balchov.
No, so balchov is definitely a payout. We said before, less man the polig. No. A regular Baal Chov comes. He had a lien on the estate, and both the sons have to pay out the estate. That's definitely dinar. That's dinar. Wait, that's Mosa dinar. Of course, that's Mosa dinar. Baal Chov lesman de polik. There was a question by Yorshim. If he's a boy, where he's also Yorsh collecting, because it's not obvious. But a regular Baal Chov, what does he have to do with the estate? He's a third party. That's definitely Mosa. The girl, because she's not a Yorsh b'mokum bonim, she's a Baal Chov. Therefore, that's Moser. She's collecting. Okay? But what about Achs B'chai Mot? It's not so posh any longer. In that case, what's going to be? You're going to need what? Achs B'chai means we have two wives. One died when he predeceased him, then the second one predeceased. And now you have two sons. Sons from the first, sons from the second. So they're maybe you'd say, we said before, that's in Tsuye. That's in Tsuye. They'll say, no, we're not getting B'nai Dichrin. You shouldn't get B'nai Dichrin. We're going to divide equally. So even though you told me the case that the payout is called Moser, but how do you know if only one gets B'nai Dichrin? How do you know you give that one B'nai Dichrin? You got it. If two, originally the Gemara said, what's the Chiddush of the Mishnah? A man is married to a woman, she predeceases him. Okay? Then he marries another woman, he predeceases his wife. The second children get the payout from the mother because they inherit the mother. There's no, but they're not collecting B'nai Dichrin, correct? Because they're taking their mother, they're not collecting the ksuba because as sons of the mother, they're just heirs. The mother already was owed the money from the estate, so they're getting in the place of the mother. That's not called psu. No, but that's not called ksubas dichrin because it was owed. B'nai Dichrin means, although it's the father's, we inherit our mother's ksuba from the father. That's where the mother predeceases the father. When a woman predeceases her husband and the husband dies, when he dies, the mother's ksuba will go to the children of that woman. So, but who are they inheriting it from? From the father. Wait. And then you have the extra, they'll divide the extra. Both, whoever the heirs are, the boys from both mothers will divide it. Right? That's what we said. Let's say one woman brings in 10,000, another brings 5,000. Now the man dies, it leaves over a $20,000 estate. So that means the children of Mrs. A gets 10,000. Children Mrs. B gets 5,000, and there's 5,000 left. They divide. Each one gets 2,500. That's the way Ksubas and Dichrim works. Each one gets the full amount what the mother brought in. This is where the husband, both wives predeceased the husband, and they leave children from both. So first, each one gets the mother's ksuba, then they divide what's left, the balance. In our case, we're speaking about he married one woman, she brought in assets, she died before he died. He marries another woman, and he had children from her. Marries another woman, poured assets into the marriage, he predeceases her. The moment he dies, what does the state owe her? Plus whatever she brought into the marriage. Is that called B'nai Dichrin? It's not called B'nai Dichrin. You have to give her back her money. That's not inheritance. She's a creditor. Yeah, she's owed the money. Whatever she brought, you got to pay her back. Now, before she has a chance to collect, and she has children, she dies. Now, when the kids come to collect their mother, that's called Ksubas B'nai Dichrin. They're not collecting it because something their father had. They're collecting because the money was owed to their mother. Right? So I would say like this, but maybe in that case there's a chiddush. We say, even so, even though they got the ksuba as what? As inheritance of the mother, we still allow the first group to collect the ksuba of their mother. That's a chiddush. Why? So the second one's not getting B'nai Dichrin. It doesn't exist. They're collecting as creditors. As creditors, they're collecting it. The first ones were collecting as what has been B'nai Dichrin. They could say, no, it's not fair. Well, we do have a right. If you get your B'nai Dichrin, we get B'nai Dichrin. Okay, so you get it yours, we're getting ours. But in our situation, we're getting nothing. Right? The second children are getting nothing as B'nai Dichrin. Because the money they're getting purely as they inherited the debt of their mother, what their mother was owed. So that's a chiddush. That's a chiddush. That achs b'chai v'achs b'moso. In that situation, even though only one group is getting B'nai Dichrin, as long as there's a balance, in addition to that, we allow them to collect B'nai Dichrin. And we're not concerned about insuye. So no fights. It'll start a fight right away. If I get mine, you get yours, okay. I have nothing to complain about. You get, even yours is more than mine, but I'm getting what my mother brought in, you get what your mother brought in. But here, I'm getting nothing. Right? So if that's the case, maybe you should have get B'nidichrin. That's the Chiddush. That's the Chiddush that we're not concerned about Litsuye. We're not concerned about that. We allow them to get it, okay? No, factually they're going to get. They get everything. And what do they get? And they'll get the full value of the ksuba of their mother that they brought into the estate, even though the mother predeceased the father. So they're getting it, they're inheriting that from their father. I mean, you're inheriting from father. We're not inheriting from the father. You could say that's not fair.
Second one,
From the father. Are getting inheritance from the mother, and they're getting nothing from the father. And they say, you know, so we'll get $1. I mean, $1 we're getting, you're getting the lion's share. It's not fair. So I'd say maybe we shouldn't say it. The Chiddush and Mishnah, you do say it. Because since factually you're being paid out your mother's ksuba in either case, you're getting the full value, we're not concerned that there's going to be a fight. Chazal said it's fair. There always has to be one. No. We say no. That's the Chiddush. No, you don't even need more dinar. That's what we're saying. We're saying 3 things. You don't need more than a dinar. We're saying the payout to the children of the second wife, that is the dinar. No, then you divide equally. No, it doesn't make a difference. It's nothing. Doesn't make a difference. That is the dinar. That is because they're getting it as creditors. No. Oh, you mean, let's say there's nothing except that to pay off the debt? They get nothing. Because the whole estate is linked to that debt. No. That was the Havamina. But the Gemara says Shema no. We say the Gemara says, by taking the second wife, that obvious from the first. He says no, maybe 3 wives. So let's say. So we're saying no. That's the even the second one. We could say the 3. The daughter's getting the Yerusha from the mother, but the boys from the first and second wife, they're dividing equally. But how do you know if one's getting b'dichrin that the second and not second one? How do you know that? If I need the case of the Mishnah, Achas, there were only 2 wives, and there were boys born from the first and the second.
Yeah, but if the second one gets, let's say the second one was credited for $1,000, and it was $12,000 altogether, and the first b'dichrin is $10,000.
Doesn't make a difference. That mother's
because he gets $1,000, the other part.
Can I ask you a question? Wait, no. Let me explain it. Let's say that both mothers. One mother brought in 10,000. No, wait. No. If one mother brought in 10,000, one brought in 1,000, and there's an extra dinar. Wait a second. Wait, and then the father died after both wives. It's not even a consideration. One gets 10,000, one gets 1,000. Could they say it's not fair? Of course they can't say it's not fair. No, because you're getting your mother's ksuba and we're getting our mother's ksuba. There's not even a question. If the wives predeceased the husband, both wives, it's not even a question. One group gets 10, one gets 1. Not even a question. Here, if factually speaking, no, the difference, the assets she brought into the marriage, not the 200. The dichra means she brought assets, the dowry. The dowries that they brought in. The nichsei mlug, nichsei tzom barza, whatever they brought into the marriage. Right, that goes back. That goes back to her children, okay? The second case, ultimately, the kids are getting that value. But if you're a little bit of a chocham, you say, but there's a technicality problem here. Because we're not, even though we're getting our mother's ksuba, the full value which she brought into the marriage, but when we're getting it, we're not getting it as b'nedichrin, we're getting it as creditors. So therefore, maybe that should be a concern of machlokes, where the first mother predeceases the father, the same case, the father predeceases the second mother. So Chazal say no, because since bottom line, don't be a chazer. You're getting what your mother brought in, even though it's being paid out as a creditor, that's not a basis for machlokas. That's what Chazal say. And therefore, the first ones have a right to get the estate of their mother. Right? Right? Okay? Okay, we have just a few minutes. Let's do the next Mishnah. Man was married to wives, they both died. Yeah, and then he dies. And now each one comes with a claim, we want to get the B'dichrin in our mother. Listen, but there's only enough in the estate to cover both ksubas. So this is the halacha. B'dichrin only get if there's a moser, if you have excess to divide it. But here, let's say the estate covered exactly what they brought in. They divide the estate equally. Hayusham moser dinar, but let's say it was the moser dinar. Elu notlin ksubasima, elu not ksubasiman. And they divide the dinar. Finished. Right? Each one gets. Im omru yisomim enachnu malim al nichse avinu yofet dinar. Gedei sheyitlu ksubasimon ein shomlem. You hear what they say? They're no fools. The one, let's say one brought in 10,000, one brought 5. They say, you know something? We'll evaluate the property to be worth more than $15,000. It'll be 15,001 dinar. So of course we don't. So then you're outdoing the other chevra. The other say, you know something? We're going to evaluate for what its value is. Then it goes 50-50, 50-50. You don't do such a thing. We don't let them make the evaluation. Bezdin makes the evaluation. Okay, here, Norman, you hear what's going on? What about if the dinar was uncollected? It wasn't in the estate. It was a debt owed to the father. Reb Shimon Omer, meaning, it's not metalton's not enough. You have to have the choshesh. You need fixed property. The dinar, which is in addition, has to be fixed property. It's not fixed property. We don't look at it. No, we said we went back and forth. Good. This Reb Shimon. Okay, but this Reb Shimon Omer. Turn around, but listen to it. One wife brings in 1,000, one brings in 500. Now the Gemara says, listen to this. Pshita. Merubin v'nisnatu. Let's say originally the properties were worth more, the estate was worth more, and you had a moser dinar. Then the estate was worth $15,001. Now it drops. Now it's worth $10,000. Afterwards, after the father died. When the father died, before it went to Bezdin.
Oh, when the father died, it was 15,000.
There was enough money. 15, let's say 15,000 exactly. Right? Because they both lost 50% of that dinar. They inherited immediately. See, even though in the actual payout, there's no payout. No, they're paying shove it b'shove it. Here, one's getting 1,500. See, you would think maybe it has to manifest itself where you see one gets the Yerusha actually is collected. There's no Yerusha collected because if it drops in value, they're taking nothing. Right? That happened when the father died. Each one gets more, one gets less. So where's Yerusha? Well, the Yerusha manifested itself, and originally it was worth that extra dinar, each lost a half a dinar. When he died, when the father died. Versus Pshit Reuben Statuk for Zochu ben Yoshim, which is a Chiddush. At time of death. But that's a Chiddush. Even though in actuality, visually, you don't see anything, doesn't make a difference. What about Muatim and Disrabu? When they died, there wasn't enough. There wasn't a Moser dinar. And now went up in property. Went up in value. To be continued.